Hi, I'm Laura and welcome back to my channel, and today I have my palette collection and light declutter. I'm starting off with the smaller stuff and then we're going to work our way up. There might be a smattering of smaller palettes later on. I'm going in absolutely no particular order, just whatever I come to first, because I'm still trying to organize things from the move. Like even in my little acrylic cubes here, there's another palette that I'd not noticed was there until right now. Starting with this is my Smashbox Trio in, what is this? Photo Op in Screenshot. I need to repress a shade in here that has cracked, but I love this palette. That is why I'm going to repress this shade, because I do love everything in here. It is a perfect little go-to palette. I don't know if they make this anymore. It's been a long time since I've even looked at the Smashbox stand or had time to peruse makeup in store. So if you have it, I would strongly recommend pulling it out. I have a Wet n Wild trio here in Walking on Eggshells. I do really like this. It is really old, I know that much. It's got like dusty eyeshadow in there. But I do really like it. I know everyone bought it for this particular taupe shade. I will try and get more use out of it, but I'm going to hold on to it for just now. I have a couple of Avon duos over here. One in Warm Cashmere, which is a nice sort of light nude set here. Perfect for like a light lid shade and a brow bone kind of highlight, inner corner highlight. Do I need it though? No I don't. I have the Enchanted Forest duo here as well, which I've used a fair amount. Do I need it though?
Yeah.
You think I need it? Okay, Rosie says I have to keep it. If the child says I have to keep it, I have to keep it. That's the rule. So we'll get rid of that one and we'll keep this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Avon, I've got a big stack of them right here, so we'll just power straight on through them and get them out of the way, because I know there are ones I want to get rid of. This is Canvas Set. I really don't like it. I look at it and the pinkness of this with the other three, the cool tone, warm tone combination, not a big fan of it, so we're just gonna get rid of the whole thing. That can just go.
Yeah.
This is Earthly Eden again. This type of pink shade I'm not a fan of. The browns are really lovely. It's always handy to have a brow bone shade, but let's just get rid of it, you know. This is Art of the Nudes. These are really nice shimmers, they really are, but they're all very neutral shimmers, like golds, nudes, bronzes. I have plenty of this in other formats. I don't need to keep a little quad of it, so it can go as well. This is Metal Maniac, which is one that I did use a fair amount, mostly for like this shade and this sort of greeny taupe shade. But I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go so it can go. This is Toasted Terracotta. This is one I am going to keep because it is a really nice quad. I love the orange, I love the brown, I love the khaki, the brow bone, this whole combination. Really enjoy, so I will keep it. Nearly Naked. Not my cup of tea at all, so it can go. Blue Diamond. I'm not a blue lover, so it can go. Mocha Latte. It's pretty. I do like it, but no, we don't need it. We don't need it.
No.
Enchanted Amethyst. Again, not the biggest fan of these tones, but I do have these tones in so many other things. So yes, we're gonna declutter those. And lastly, we have Vibrant Spice, which I'm definitely going to keep. It has a very nice Moroccan vibe to it. I love these purples. I like this shade and the gold, all as a combination mixed with Toasted Terracotta. They're beautiful together, so we're going to keep hold of those. I have some XX Revolution palettes here. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of any of them. I know I have more than this. I just don't know where they are right now. So, yes. This is Experience. This I like. I like this combination of purples. Like, they had this purple in one of those palettes, but the combination of these other shades makes worth keeping this purple. They all work together really nicely, and I can use this in other looks. And I do like the XX Revolution formula as well. This is an Excite. This is a beautiful everyday kind of combo here, plus this special shimmer is also really, really nice. This one is called Extreme. It's kind of like that Toasted Terracotta, but on acid. Really nice mattes, really nice shimmers, so we're going to keep hold of that one. And this is Extrovert. This is one I've used a fair bit, although it doesn't really look like it. This is a really nice sort of everyday combo of a warm brown eye, and throw this on the lid. I think the shimmer shows more use than the mattes. I have the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, which I absolutely love. I haven't had a chance to play about in it too much. It was a lucky find in Home Bargains. It has a warm side, it has a cool side. It is amazing. After all this time to finally get a hold of one, it's been like a decade since I first heard about this. So just to even possess it is something special to me, bizarrely, so keeping hold of it. We have Clinique Morning Java. Is a beautiful quad that I definitely need to get more use out of. I've had this since 2015, apparently. Each shadow has 1.2 grams. They are tiny, tiny pans, but apparently they pack a lot of product. So we'll try and work that in somewhere and get it used a bit more. This is the little YSL duo in the shade 35. I got this out of the clearance section in Debenhams back in the day. I love this combo. It is so sophisticated to me that I will not let it leave my possession. This one is it's shade 11. I can't remember what it's called. Like something garden, secret garden, hypnotic garden. I can't remember, but it looks like this. It is beautiful. And I mostly keep it for sentimentality because it was the first like high-end eyeshadow palette I bought. So yeah, I keep it mostly just for that reason. I have my Estee Lauder ones. We have the shade Fiery Saffron, which is very bog standard and neutral, and to be honest, do I need to keep it? Do I need to keep it? Okay. I might work this in and get it used up because it is just so bog standard and neutral, and bog standard and neutral. We'll try and get it used up rather than throwing it away. Same with Rebel Metal. This is more spicy. It's like the nighttime version of Fiery Saffron. But yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep them and get them used up. These I'm definitely keeping. I like my Lancomes. This is Terre d'Ivoire. I think it's meant translates like Ivory Coast or something. But it is really pretty. I love it. And then we have a Brun Au Natural, which is just a more warm toned version. So I'll keep those two. My Dior palettes, which I have quite a few of, and I don't think this is all of them. This is in Hypnotize. It is stunning, it is beautiful, and I love it. This is Pure Carnage. Again, sophisticated, gorgeous, love it. This is in Amber Nuit, and again, beautiful. It's like rosy tan, which I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, this is rosy tan. It's like they've taken rosy tan and instead of having that god-awful pink shade in it, they've put a more suitable peach in it. Speaking of which, I am keeping both, so there we go. This one is Amber Design. It's the one that comes with a little cream liner that's slightly drying out, so I will work on a bit more on this over the coming year and get it used up at some point soon. This is in Earth Reflection, which is beautiful. Again, I'm not a big fan of these icy pinky shimmers, although the pinkness doesn't really show up. Thank you. The pinkness doesn't really show up when you put them on your eyelid. And then this is Pt1. I think it's poulet. I'm sure someone always corrects me every time I mention it, but this one has the gorgeous dark black with a green undertone, black with gold shimmer, a navy, and a golden based white. Have I used it? No. Can I part with it? No. So it's going to stay. And the last one I have in this little section is my Guerlain palette Quint. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be called product line wise, but it's in Tonka Imperial. So this is Tonka Imperial. It is just a really nice warm neutral palette. Again, I really don't need to keep it, but I also can't bear to get rid of it because it's like how much I paid for it, which is mental. So we'll keep it, we'll work on it, and hopefully we'll get it used soon. Next up, I have this little basket of palettes. Like I said, we're going in whatever order things come out in. Just because I have some W7 palettes here. We have the Gold Rush. It is a dupe of the Natasha Denona Gold palette. It is really pretty. These formulations are really pretty. I will most likely use this up because there's 14 shades in here and there's only 11 grams of product. So yeah, this is probably something I'll just keep and use up. And yeah, we have this one, which is the Wild Eyes. This is supposed to be like their version of, I think, the Norvina palette, possibly, or this one's meant to be their version of the Norvina palette. No, this one's the Norvina palette. This is the Violet Lights. It's really pretty. I like the shimmers. I'll keep hold of it for a little bit longer. This one I will keep hold of for a little bit longer. If I haven't used it by next year, then maybe I will possibly consider decluttering it. I have a Colourpop here, Ménage à Moi. I love this palette. It is so, so pretty. The glitters, there's 2 glitters in here. Not the biggest fan of glitters, but I use them occasionally. But the rest of the palette I do really like, so we'll keep hold of that. And then we also have Going Coconuts from Colourpop, which, who doesn't own this, to be honest? I only actually started dabbling in this after we moved in here into our new place, and really, really love this Cocoa Crush. It was such a really nice sort of go-to palette. It would be if I had less eyeshadows, this would be like a staple. It would be a go-to daily palette. It would be treated like my Tartelette in Bloom palette, which y'all know I love so much. And then lastly in here we have my BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop palettes. We have Sugar Cone. These are they're just so pretty. I love them. We have Cotton Candy, which is like the purples and the pinks. We have Orange Sorbet. which has that one that's broken, unfortunately. Out of all of these palettes, that's the only one that came damaged. We have the cherry on top, which is a gorgeous red palette. Gorgeous. The pistachio palette. Oh no, that one got damaged in the move. Oh dear. It's okay, we can fix it. It'll be fine, we can fix it. So there is that. And there is also a blue one somewhere. I just don't know where it is at the moment. I think it's the bubblegum palette it's called. And I also have a little glitter fixer gel in here from Barry M, which is actually not too bad. It doesn't have extreme staying power, but it's not too bad. Next I have this big basket here that has Colourpop, Juvia's. It's a mishmash of things. It's a mishmash. As I say, we're just taking what comes first because yes. So we have a Sample Beauty palette here called the Rain palette. It is a gorgeous neutral. It is something that I do grab for quite a lot. It's a perfect companion palette for a lot of things, dabbling into the shimmers and things and all the mattes. So we're going to keep hold of that. I have 3 of my Jaclyn Hill palettes in this basket here. We have the Ring the Alarm, which I really like. We have the Armed and Gorgeous, again, really like this. I wish it had been more green. I know I say this all the time, but when it was first sort of advertised, I felt like this palette was a lot more green, but it's really not. It only has 1, 2 greens, if you count that as a green. But hey ho. And then we have the Dark Magic one, which I don't use a whole lot. The other one is the one I use the most. So yeah, that is those. I have my whatchamacallem, Alter Ego palettes. Not all of them are here. There's one missing. The Artemis palette's not in this basket, I don't think. But we have the Goddess palette, which is their version of the gold palette. Yes, I am going to keep it. I probably won't get rid of much in this basket, if anything at all. We have the Canyon palette, which is their version of the, whatchamacallit, bronze palette. The Sahara palette, which is their version of, I'm not sure. But yeah, we have the Sahara palette, the Blooms palette, which is their version of the Love palette, the Aurora, which is their version of the Sunrise palette, and that Dawn shade is just screaming at me. We have the Shadow Kiss palette, which is their version of the Glam palette. So pretty. And we'll have a look at the Artemis palette when it appears. I have 2 from Glamlight. We have the Michaela and the Michaela Part 2. Here we have the Michaela with its obnoxious shimmer. And these are just stunning and gorgeous. And I think I haven't used this. I think I've just swatched a few of the shades, to be honest. Oh my god, they actually have a shade that's called Simping. I didn't even notice that. Crazy! But there we go. These are the only things I've ever purchased from Glamlight. And this is the Part 2 with its obnoxious shimmer, glitter particles. And again, I haven't used this either. I've just kind of swatched a few of the shades, but yeah, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I don't actually watch Michaela. I don't really know who she is. I know there's a lot of drama surrounding her, or has been, and I just like the palettes and the colour stories. I'm not partaking in anything anything that goes alongside it. I have a bunch of the larger sort of 12 pan Colourpop shadows. Let's call this the Colourpop segment. We have the Good as Gold. I really like this. Really like this. I don't think it's a dupe for like the Anastasia Gold palette, but the vibes of just goldness, really enjoy. The Whatever palette, again, absolutely love this. The Mr. Brightside shade, so absolute top tier shade. Boudoir Noir goes with the Ménage à Moi palette in that sort of collection. Love, just absolutely love. I also like that this only has one glitter in it. We have In the Limelight, which I don't think I've used this one. No, I don't think I've used this one. It is beautiful though. I am going to keep it. Sweet Talk. I don't use this too often. The backdrop of it just... I really don't like the backdrop. This metallic, highly reflective backdrop. It just sort of spoils the colour story for me. If it would matte, I might use these colours more. I just don't want to go into it because of that backdrop. We have the Flutterby palette, or even if it was like more like this, a more muted sort of metallic, because I use this one a lot. I like the Flutterby one. I like all these like purpley, dusky tones. California Love, again, I really like these. I like the sort of grungy vibes to this. That I can do like a hippy dippy smoky eye. These are actually single shadows from Colourpop. There's a couple of duplicates from colours I already own, but really love this little selection here. It was a pre-made selection. We have Plush Like Me, again, muted sort of metallic backdrop, but I really like these sort of grungier, rosy, muted tones. It definitely doesn't scream 90s at me, but I do really enjoy them. And then we have Off Melrose, which again, absolutely love. I love this Halifax shade, sort of like shift from brown to bluey purple, and Trading Post, and yeah, it's just really pretty. I have a whole bunch of these 9-pan ones as well. Love the 9 pans so much. We have Ornate, which is one I've used a fair amount. I just love the colours in here. They're just a really nice combination. A rather bold colour choice, having like the mustard with all these dark, rich, saturated reddish browns. That's Taupe, one that I've been reaching for a lot. I like this sort of middle-y row. These are really nice sort of transitional shades. It is a bit cool tone for me to use all the time, but it's nice to dip into and pick certain shades out of. We have Lilac Hue a lot, which is one that I've seen so many people use shades out of for their build your own palette. That's the main reason I have most of these 9 palettes. Pan palettes is for build your own palettes, and I think this one might actually be cracked. We'll do a bit of investigating and find out what's going on there. We have Coast to Coral, which is really pretty. It's just lots of really nice sort of corally, terracotta, orangey shades. Then we have the It's My Pleasure palette, which looks a lot more purple. The packaging would make you think it's going to be a lot more purple than it really is, and it's gotten a bit dinged up with the Pretty Cruel. I think that one might be cracked, the bare minimum. But I love this palette. I love Mr. Sandman. I love Pretty Cruel. It's one of my absolute favourites. Actually, I think I might have done that myself, trying to pop out the eyeshadow at some point. But yeah, really love this one. We We have the Blue Moon palette, which I don't use very often because I don't like blues. This one got dinged up when I was trying to pop out the pans, but I now have this bad boy. It's a magnet. It just gets them out. So I don't have to worry about jabbing them with my depotting tool. I can just pop them out like magic and just hope that they don't fall out of the pan. But yeah, I will keep hold of that because there are some shades in here that I like the deep navy blues, the vibrant blues. These would be nice as sort of like transition-y shades. Inner corner highlight. For a blue palette, this is like the perfect selection range of blues for someone who doesn't like blues. Or could you not? I love this. I love the vibrancy, the saturation, the tones. It is just decadent. A decadent palette. I feel like I was covering it the whole time with my hand. I'm sorry. But it is beautiful. We have the main squeeze, which is more reddish tones, reddish orangey tones. I haven't had a chance to use this one a whole bunch, but I will hopefully be getting more into it soon. We have the Blush Crush, which again, more sort of wishy-washy tones. This sort of colour, the Blush Wine, is so my vibe in so many palettes. It's like a reddishy brown or like a really dark mulberry red with shimmer shot through it. I am a weakness for colours like this. We have the Orange You Glad. This is so bright and vibrant, and but when you look at the colours individually, like they're a lot more it's like staple colours, more sort of neutrally colours, pops of shimmer. And these two, they just look very neon, like Mimosa Miami and Sunkissed. They look very neon, and I've never really noticed that before. So yeah, that'll be quite interesting to try and work with those, because I honestly, I haven't had the chance over the last like year or two to play too much with makeup. This is Nude Mood. Absolutely love these colours. Really like this Put On Airs and Wink Wink. Again, that sort of rich brown with shimmer shot through. Oh, so pretty. So we'll keep in hold of that one. Just My Luck has Mary Jane, All of You. This sort of brown, chances are that is very in at the moment. These sort of browns are ones that I reach for a lot. Browns, I mean greens. But these sort of greens are ones that I reach for a lot in other palettes. So if I were to work more out of here, I would definitely get a lot of use out of them. Little Ray of Sunshine, loads of matte, different variations of yellow all the way through to brown. Do I need it though? Probably not, but I'm going to keep it anyway for building palettes and such. Same with Big Poppy. It's more like oranges. It's from like a light wash of orange all the way through to a really reddishy toned brown. We have the Mandalorian palette, The Child. Absolutely love this. I've used it a few times. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There are definitely other shadows in the other palettes that I can use to replace these as they get used up. We have Lucky Penny, which is all different copper tones. Oh, they're so pretty. Wine and Only. Again, these like really, really deep mulberry colours. Even if they don't have glitter shot through them, this one does, that one doesn't. Absolutely love them. Reach for them so much. And these sort of like reddish shimmers. Ow. I feel like I've just pulled up a muscle in my foot. And then we have Making Mauves, which is one of my favorites, absolute go-to. I love this middle row. I love it so much. And these darkest shades are really nice as well. And then we have Honey. These are gorgeous golds, sort of mustardy yellows, pops of yellow. Again, I haven't had too much of a chance to play about with it, but will do in the near future. Just need to have the opportunity to do it. That might be all my colour pops. I'm not entirely sure. There might be others. We'll find out. We have my Juvia's Place, the 6-pan palettes. This is the Nudes by Juvia's Place. These are really, really pretty. They look really bland and dull and boring. But individually, they are beautiful colours. Like, these are really nice sort of transitional shades. This is a really nice lid shade. That's a really nice lid shade. This is really nice. It's a khaki. It just doesn't think it'd be much better with greens. We have Sweet Pinks, which is absolutely terrifying. It really, really is absolutely terrifying. But I love these two shades. That one's a really nice transition. I need to work on working through these ones. Mauves, which is my absolute favourite palette. I love everything in here. Everything. And this one is like a similar shade to the Amrezy palette. It is just stunning and beautiful. Similar to the shade Barb. I have like a little I had more dupes of Barb before I owned Barb. It was like the build up I needed to bite the bullet and buy an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Next up we have the Berries palette from Juvia's. It is beautiful, stunning. I love these sort of purple, mulberry, cranberry tones. These pinks are so pretty. I know this is really similar to like the Sweet Pinks one. In vibrancy, if you will, those middle shades. Maybe it's just the comparisons that freak me out, but we'll see. We'll find ways to use them, definitely. Then we have the chocolates, beautiful, beautiful browns. These are nice sort of bronzy shimmers, really workable, usable neutrals. I don't really need it, but I'm gonna keep it anyway because I like it. The violets, this is probably my least favorite one. When I see it all together like this, I would never create a look out of these colors, but used separately they could be really, really pretty. Like, this is a very pretty crease color on its own. These are very pretty lid colors on their own. This is a really nice liner on its own, but all together I would never wear it all together. And that leaves us with the taupes, which is more khakis than anything else. This is like very khaki, army green type color story, and I love the metallics, the shimmers. This is definitely a really good taupe, this particular shade. I'm not going to swatch lots of things, but this is definitely one of my favourite sort of taupes. It has the perfect mix of like taupiness, but it has a bit of colour shot through it, so it's not mediocre. And lastly, in this basket we have my Viseart palettes, which I adore so much, and will not be getting rid of any of them because I just love them so much. I have my larger size, I'm not sure if these Professional Preview palettes, I believe they're called. This particular one is in Bijou Royale. I really wish they would re-release this colorway because it is beautiful. It is a rainbow palette but in jewel tones. You have your pinks, you have your some bronzes and a plum. These are variants of green, blues here, and I've used every shade in here multiple times. It is beautiful, it is stunning, and it's never leaving my collection. And this is the warm, no, this is the neutral matte palette. This is what kicked the whole thing off. And it is just a gorgeous, basic, standard palette. If you were only to have like one matte neutral eyeshadow palette, this would probably be your go-to. This one is the Warm Mattes palette. It is really, really pretty. I do appear to be missing my vibrant ones, the ones with the really, really bright colours. Don't know where. Oh, here it is. Editorial Mattes, this one's called. Editorial Bright, sorry. Super, super vibrant, saturated colours. So nice. And this is the Dark Matte palette. Again, everything you could possibly ever want or need. And I have two of these larger sized special palettes. This is the Bijouette, which is the closest to the Bijou Royale I've ever seen. It is stunning. It has some really nice, sumptuous matte neutrals, pops of colour, all in gorgeous jewel tones. I love this orange. So pretty. I love this blue. I know I've said I don't like blues, but I seem to be very gravitating a lot towards blues whilst filming this video. Trying to convince myself to keep them. Or maybe I'm just warming up to blues. So that was the Bijouette palette. This is the Mink set in Étendue. Gorgeous, warm neutrals, beautiful peach tones, terracotta tones, coppers. Yeah. Keeping that. This is the Spritz Edit. These are stunning. This is that perfect kind of dark mulberry, reddish, currant wine colour that I... Oh Lord, what just happened there? Oh yeah, it's that kind of perfect shade that I love in so many other palettes, like the Wine Not from Colourpop and that kind of thing. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful, and also handy that they can pop out and I can use them in smaller palettes if I should choose to. And then lastly, for Viseart, we have the Paris Edit, which is possibly my most favourite out of these style packaging. It's just stunning. I love this shimmer that's kind of broken, but it's holding it together. Aren't we all? I love this row here of like the purples, the mattes, this shimmery pink. I know I don't like shimmery pinks, but this shimmery pink, beautiful. I might in future do a brand by brand video and swatch the shades I have and just gush all over them. But not in this video. We do not have time for it. Here is my next basket of eyeshadow palettes, and there are some that I instantly know I want to get rid of because I'm just over them. No other reason, I'm just over them. And that would be these chocolate bar palettes. I've gotten rid of a load before, and these are the ones I really wanted to keep. But now I'm just over it. We have the chocolate and peaches. We have sprinkles. They are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But I just don't reach for them. This is the creme brulee. Again, really, really nice. This is the honey. These pinks, the pinks and purples in here, oh, they are stunning. I could almost be tempted to keep this. Almost. I might hang on to it long enough to see if I can dupe these pinks and then get rid of it, but eventually it shall be leaving. Definitely. We have the golden bar. Again, really nice neutrals. This is salted caramel. This was like a dupe of the second chocolate bar, semi-sweet chocolate bar palette, if I remember rightly. This is the chocolate orange palette, and I loved this one. Like, absolutely loved it. Now I'm just like, you know, I have so much like it, it's fine. I can let it go. And then we have the Turkish Delight palette. Again, so pretty, but I do know the colours in here that I like, I could dupe, and now that I'm looking at it, that Juvia's Place, the Sweet Pinks, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, they're in that palette. We're good, we're golden, we don't need to hold on to this. It's fine. I just want to find replacements for these beautiful shades in the honey palette, like this guy, this guy, this guy. These, they're just so pretty. So pretty. I'm almost certain I own colours like it, so it shouldn't take me long to find replacements, but other than that, these are all gonna go. Speaking of Too Faced and Chocolate Bar, I have my two Too Faced Chocolate Bar palettes here, which I'm gonna keep hold of for a while. This is the initial version of that shade I've been talking about this whole time, Cherry Cordial, that really dark, sumptuous brownie, reddy, mulberry wine shot through with shimmer. Oh yes, that is the jam. But yeah, these all seem to be in perfectly good condition. Nothing seems to be like moldy or anything, and it still smells like chocolate amazingly. So we're going to keep hold of this for a little bit longer, and probably work into some projects over the course of the year. We also have the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette, which hasn't had as much use in it. In fact, I think there's some shades in here that haven't been touched. So we'll work on this as well at some point soon. The Sweet Peach palette. I love the Sweet Peach palette, and I've seen people pan it, so I know that it is possible. So we're going to hold on to this guy and work our way through it over a stretch of time. Next up, I have my Anastasias and Sigmas. So we're just going to quickly run through them because I'm not going to be getting rid of any. We have the Soft Glam. It is beautiful. It is stunning. I love it. We're keeping it. We have the new Mod. I haven't actually had a chance to play around with this too much. I think I've used it maybe once. But I love the colour story, so we're going to keep hold of it. Although there is something happening to the outside packaging. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if that's something has gotten on it or if that just happens to this material. That's one thing I hate about it. I hate this velour-ness. Like the one on Nervina, it's like a felted sort of feeling. This is straight up disgusting velour couch feeling. So yeah, Nervina from Anastasia, keeping this, the colours, the colour story, the shimmers is beautiful. I honestly held off so long for purchasing this simply because of this shade Soul. Glad I just discounted it, and I actually kind of like the shade Soul now that I have it and I'm using it. It's definitely not a fave, but it's not a deterrent of using the palette. We have the Amrezy palette. Oh, it is beautiful. I think my my shimmer, my glitter in there is Gemini is doing something funky. It's like lifting up out of the pan, but it's fine. Really love this. The mattes in here are really nice. The shimmers are really nice. Of course, it has Barb in there. I have so many likenesses to Barb. I'm not going to say dupes because they're not dupes, but yeah. I am ready to use up this palette though. I've had it, I've experienced it. We can get it moved out. The Ambience palette from Sigma, absolutely love this. It is going nowhere. That shade Marigold. Oh, It is stunning. It is stunning. If they could sell that as a single, that would make me so, so happy. I would get rid of the entire palette and just buy a single. We have the Corda Rosa. It's another one that I haven't really used a whole lot. But again, it has that special shimmer formula like Marigold in Belle of the Ball, in Sun Sprite. It is beautiful. So we'll keep hold of that guy. Warm Neutral. This I love. Honestly, I held off for years for purchasing this. I remember when it was in its old style packaging, in the square packaging. But yeah, I'm glad to finally have it in my collection and be using it and loving it. We have the Enchanted palette, which has these gorgeous reflective shimmers. The mattes in here are very... like the quality is really nice, but the color selection is very mediocre, but it's worth it for those shimmers. Those shimmers are just And then we have the Untamed palette, which has a complete flip side. The mattes in here are very unique color choices. You've got like a mustardy green, a dark green, these sort of terracottas, some lilac, a sort of stone shade, as well as some unique shimmers as a palette. This is given all the good stuff. Given all the good stuff in there. Lastly, for this basket, we have my Revolution palette, and I'm just going to quickly grab the other guy. My largest eyeshadow palette, the XX Extravaganza palette. This is a 66 shade eyeshadow palette. It is beautiful, it is stunning. I very much enjoy it, even though it is massive, it is ridiculous. It is more colors than you could ever need, but I love it. I'm going to hold on to it, and I've seen a way to possibly use it that I'm going to work on and talk on in another video. So yeah, we're going to work our way through this bad boy eventually. I will make it happen. And that leaves us with these beautiful Revolution palettes. We have the Tammy X Revolution Tropical Carnival palette, and I actually seen someone panning this and doing amazing with it, so I'm definitely gonna hold on to it. I've been meaning to get to this and play with it more. It is beautiful and stunning, and I know I could create so many lovely looks with it. It's just the effort of pulling it out. So I'm, you know, once I'm done with this video, I'm gonna be rearranging how I store everything to make it easier to use things. But we're gonna hold on to that guy. We have the Sebel Night to Night. I don't know quite how I feel about this one. Let's just pull this off. Okay, this is interesting. I've never actually dug into this, as you can see by the cover was still on it, but these two are pressed glitters, right? And they're fairly stable. They have a good like base to them. They're not going to be like flying off into the air. But these ones, this one and this one, they're in a gel. So you could put the gel version down first and then put the other one on top. Like that one just generally is very pretty. It has a beautiful kind of like greeny shift. I don't know if you can see that, but ooh. See, now I have a renewed interest in this palette that I didn't have before. Okay, we're gonna keep hold of Night to Night and see what we can do with it. But generally speaking, the rest of this palette's quite lovely. I was gonna say that the glitters really took me off, but now I feel otherwise. This is a love I have a backup of it actually. This is the Courage Wild Animal palette and it is stunning, it is beautiful, I love it. Even though there are shades in here that have not been touched, I love it. Apologies, that is my washing machine. But this is just gorgeous. It has beautiful mattes, beautiful shimmers, inner corner highlight, liner shades. Just, it is divine. So divine that, as I say, I picked up a backup. We're going to keep hold of them both. And I also picked up the Fierce palette. It is super bright and vibrant. I haven't played as much in this one, but it is the same great quality. It's kind of what makes me gravitate more towards this style packaging, because I tend to find with Revolution, the formula of the shadow is usually very heavily linked to the style of packaging. Like this style, the formulation is pretty much the same throughout. This style, the formulation is the same throughout. The one that's in like a tin, like they had the Sativa Chill one and other things like that, they did their Fire and Ice in those little tins. I don't like the formula of that one very much, so I don't buy that particular type of eyeshadow from them. But these, the mattes are beautiful, they're smooth, they kind of remind me a bit of like the Byredo palettes, which I know I could get roasted for that comparison, but like the layout of it reminds me of them. And then we have this other Sibyl one, which is the Day to Day palette, and it is beautiful. It is very boring and matte and neutral, but it's interesting neutrals. These are like washed out terracottas. There's like a sage, a tan, like a mustardy yellow, off-white. Is the colours chosen in here for neutrals are very out of the box, and it makes me really happy, so we're going to hold on to it. I think I might actually just be holding on to all of them, but we'll run through them anyway. This is Deep Dive. This is the blue palette that they have. Again, it's a really nice array of colours. These types of blue, they're warm enough that I can use them. They're not too cool toned, they're not too stone or like a storm cloud type blue. So yeah, the colour selection in here is the type of blue that I do like and will wear. They're not too cool toned. They're more like Atlantic blues rather than North Sea blues. And I don't think anyone other than British people might get that reference. You look at the North Sea and it just looks like grey death. You look at the Atlantic Ocean and it's beautiful. This one is one of my most favourite palettes. This is the Provocative. It is just gorgeousness. It's just gorgeousness, so we're going to hold on to it. This is also another favourite, Neutrals 3. It is very samey colours, but they're also very different colours. It's a very monotone palette, but you can create so many sumptuous looks with it. So many. This is Velvet Rose. I knew that before even turning over the back. This is where I sort of go to if I want to start leaning into cooler tones, taupes, because I don't really like true cool tones, but cooler tones, awesome. This little section of 9 right here that really does it for me. This is the Neutrals 2. Very, very pink. Not necessarily my most favourite. I do love this sort of cream to powder shade that's covered in dry powder. We're going to have to give it a bit of a clean up. But it is a beautiful, beautiful palette. This is the Revolution Pro Trends Mischief Mattes. I do like it. I don't know if I want to keep it. 0.8 grams per shadow. Does that factor in at all? They would be easier to use up, I suppose. We'll see. We'll see about it. This one is the Empire palette. This is like beautiful jewel tones, like cool tone jewel tones, greens, khakis, metallics. So pretty. So we're going to hold on to this guy. This is more vibrant jewel tones, and it is the jeweled palette. This is kind of like the Bijou Et palette from Viseart. Very, very pretty. We'll be keeping hold of it. This is Iconic Division. It's their version of the oh goodness, I can't remember that one from Anastasia. That you know the one I mean. I can't think of it. It's very grungy. It had a lot of problems with kick up and powder being very loosely pressed. Nope, it's still not coming to me, but it's based on that one. But I do like this one again. It's very much like the Sybil Day to Day palette, but a darker colour story. So yeah, the two of those together would create a beautiful set of looks. This is the Red Alert. This is their version of the J-Star. Can't remember what it's called. That first one that you came out with that was all red. I can't remember. But yeah, the purple pinks in here are so nice. This was very out of the box for Revolution at the time. Again, we're going to keep hold of it. We just are. And this is the Basic Mattes palette, which I'm going to keep hold of. Just because I'm currently at this precise moment not in the mood to get rid of things. I'm not very I don't dislike it. It's not gone bad. Do I need it? No, not really. Am I in the mood to be hardcore decluttering right now? No. I mean, it's not offending me too much to be existing. So we'll keep hold of it for just now. Lastly, for the black packaging ones, this is the Marvelous Mattes. Again, I might keep hold of this so that I can... No. Same reasoning for this guy. I'll keep hold of it for when I'm working on palettes that are lacking a little extra something, because popping in these brights really can elevate a look. Maybe if I've got something that just needs a touch more warmth, or could do with a touch of purple or a touch of blue or whatever, or if it doesn't have like a lid setting shade or something. That's what these types of palettes are good for in my collection, because I don't sit here at my desk where everything is stored and do my makeup. I'm in the bathroom, so I'm grabbing things to take with me. And here we have possibly my most favourite formulation from Makeup Revolution. These are the Foil Frenzy cream to powder eyeshadows. They're sort of based on the Natasha Denona. This one is Foil Frenzy. This one is Foil Frenzy Fusion. Oh, it is so lovely. These colors are just, they're stunning, they're gorgeous, they're everything. They're so nice that I bought a second one because I just needed to keep it in my life. And this is the Fusion one. There was a third version of it, but I was never able to get hold of it. But it has like this gorgeous sort of greeny, olivey brown that I had a few examples of in my powder shadow collection, but having it in this cream to powder is pinnacle to me. Pinnacle. Like this sort of, I think that's sort of like a, oh yes. So that's like the olivey bronzy shade I was saying. And this one has a slight shift of that sort of bluey brownness to it. It has that sort of vibe to it without being too in your face with the blue brown. And yeah, they are just, they're so pretty. I love them. I'm just keeping hold of them. I just am. There's no two ways about it. I'm just keeping hold of them. I'm going to quickly go through these palettes because they were close by. We have the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions. I remember not really liking this. I'm going to be doing a No Pan Left Behind in 2024, so I'm going to keep hold of it and put through a round of that. And then if I still don't like it, it's going to go at the end of next year. These sleek ones are going to go, and this Avon one, they're definitely going to go. Again, very generic. This Avon palette it's just called the Day to Night Edit, and it's very bland. It's not got a lot of range to it. It's all very light or very dark. There's nothing really much in between, and the one sort of colour shade is very muted. So we're gonna pass that bad boy on. And then I've got two sleek palettes, All Night Long. Again, just very muted, and I haven't reached for them. This is a New Day. Again, just, it's fine. I'm over it. They can go. These Juvia's Place ones. I know this is going to sound very repetitive because I have two of the Masquerade mini palettes. I have the big one and I have the mini one. And I love the colours in here just so much that I do kind of want to keep them both. Even if it's just for that Ada shade, because it is just so pretty. And I've heard that they no longer make the big size, they only make the mini, and that it might be discontinuing. And this Zobo shade, I love Zobo and Calabar and Zulu and Daya. These particular ones, I could take or leave, to be honest. I haven't really worked into them all that much, but this could be the year. This could be the year that I do so much more with them. And then we have the Saharan 2, which is not leaving my collection. This is staying. This is mine. This is mine. Nope. Then we have the Nubian, which again is just, it's a very nice neutral palette, again for grabbing if I was going to pick one of the more colourful Juvia's Place palettes. I would pick this up to go along with it for a bit of stability in my looks, but we'll keep hold of that guy. And then I have my large Colourpop palettes. We have the Bare Necessities, which is an absolute mess. This palette is like impossible to clean. It's like impossible. Once powder gets on it, it just, that's it. That's the end of it. It's never going to look the same again. We have It's a Mood. Love It's a Mood. So, so pretty. Even the glitters I can be forgiving of. The green row over here, really love. I love the purples in here. I just love everything in here. And then we have Stone Cold Fox, which has a lot of surprising colours in here, like Genius Guy. Love this in particular. If they could make that in a single, I would be so happy. It kind of is a bit like Glass Bowl, but a bit different. I can't quite describe the difference at the moment, but yeah. Again, I'm going to try and work on these and get some of them moved out because I don't need to be holding on to these for too long, and I have heard that they sort of degrade in quality over time. So yeah, we won't keep them hanging around for too long. Moving along with some that I already just have sitting on my desk here. You're going to see these pop up again fairly soon. Sneak peek into some projects coming up in 2024. I have my e.l.f. Bite Size Quad in Jalapeno. I like it. It's not amazing, but yeah, I'm going to keep it and use it up. I already have this pegged for a project in the new year. Same with this guy. I have this pegged for a project in the new year. This is the Too Faced Natural Eyes at Night. I bought this for myself for a birthday, I think for my 25th possibly. And I'm almost 35. So yeah, we're gonna get this guy used up or moved out some point soon. I have my two Tartelette palettes. This is the regular Tartelette. It's just gorgeous cool tone neutrals. Some of them are slightly warmer, but it's a mostly cool toned palette. And then we have the In Bloom, which is considerably warmer but still has cool tone aspects. One of the very few pans of eyeshadow in my collection. I think it may be the only pan of eyeshadow in my collection. But yeah, love it, love it, love it. It's not leaving my stash at all. I have some Juvia's Place here. We have the Festival. These are really bright and colourful. I'm going to keep hold of that guy. We have the Saharan, which I don't think they make this one anymore either, which is a shame because that Sokoto shade, beautiful in the crease. I love this Foolish shade. Zoya. Chad is a really nice liner. Just generally, this palette is really, really nice. In fact, it was one of my go-to palettes in this year. As I say 2023, we're still in 2023. It was one of my go-to palettes this year. If I was going to wear makeup, which wasn't very often, this was one of my workhorse palettes. We have the Warrior, which is a really nice sort of luxe decadent neutral palette. You got your brow bone shade, crease, liner, deepening shade, beautiful array of lid shades. This one is just stunning. But there's that. We have Zulu, which again is more brights. I wish these ones had names though. This one is a beautiful like golden pink sort of shift shade. I love these brights. If I were going to get rid of all my sugar pills, they'd basically all be replaced by these ones here. We have the Douce from Juvia. Again, love this. It is very long time discontinued. I actually picked mine up off of eBay. Very, very lightly used. And it still had its box. I really love it. I love this sort of bright fuchsia pinky purple. The sort of contrast of these sort of colours just mixed together like this. I could totally replicate this out of single shadows and keep repeating it, but just having it all prefixed in a palette is also it's top tier. And then we have the Magic Mini, which I love. It kind of gives me a bit of like, it kind of gives me vibes of Metropolis a little bit, especially with these three shades here. It has like a very deep purple, very deep green, and a very deep navy blue, much like the Metropolis palette. And that's about as far as the comparison goes, apart from maybe like these sort of colours and a few of the darker shades. But I do love the colour story in here as well, so we're going to keep hold of it too. And then we have these two palettes that were based on recommendation from Paulina Beauty. She's since declared hers, but I still love mine. Her favourite one was this one, the Pro Mastre. It's definitely more of a pinky, rosy toned base palette. It is definitely stunning and I love it. But the one I'm more interested in is the Break Free, which has more of a purpley vibe, and it actually kind of has a lot of those sort of purpley pink tones from the Honey palette that I really want to keep hold of. So yeah, that's always good. Next I have this beast of a palette from P. Louise. It's the Money Shop palette. Again, I got this off of eBay. It was an unwanted Christmas gift someone had last year and they were just selling it straight on. And it is stunning. Has all these gorgeous greens on the top here. The packaging is truly obnoxious, but the eyeshadows, guys, the eyeshadows are just divine. These are some of my Coastal Scents eyeshadows. I'm not going to go through and tell you all the names of them because Coastal Scents is now like defunct and gone forever. But the Coastal Scent shadows, this is your reminder if you own these, go dig them out, go put yourself together a palette and love the heck out of them, because they were so forgotten as a company. I wish we'd been able to like hype them up a little bit more. The single shadows, like sometimes they go on sale for $1, $2. Amazing quality, amazing color selection, perfect for duping the vibes of any palette on the market. And yeah, if you owned the set of Coastal Suns loose shadows, you would never need to buy another palette again. Would it stop you? Probably not, but you wouldn't need to buy another palette again unless it was like a special formulation. We have the Nubian 2 palette. I think this is my last Juvia's Place. Again, love this. I love the big pans. But these sort of like warm, that's cool. These sort of brown and purplies, Jezebel. Oh my god, Jezebel is amazing. I love it. These shimmers. I love what Juvia's Place does with eyeshadows. I haven't tried any of their new things like the Culture palette or the Ice Cream or anything like that. I just have like the classic ones. But I might pick them up in future. Who knows? You never know. I have some of my Melt Cosmetics here. We have She's in Parties, which is a current favorite. I've used this a lot lately. It's beautiful. We have Rust. Again, it's a beautiful workhorse palette. If I just want to grab eyeshadow to throw on, this is a good palette for that. We have the Gemini. Again, beautiful neutrals with a bit of a greenness, and I'm always good for a green. This is my Colour Drain Queen of Hearts palette. I know a lot of people have decluttered theirs. I'm pretty sure this palette is like 6 years old now. I still really like it. I still really love it. I need to show it a lot more love before I even consider having it leave my collection. This is the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose palette. It is stunning. But I have this, you know, when you save things for best feeling. That's how I feel about indie brand shadows, because they're just so special. They're so luxe. They're so shiny and reflective. I feel like they're just too much for everyday use. Like they're just too much for the school run. I need to not feel like that anymore and get like use out of these, because they're just too nice to let go to waste. I have one of my Huda Beauty palettes. This is the Desert Dusk. It is stunning. Stunning. I used this a lot when I first got it, and I kind of put it away again and just didn't pick it out again. So yeah, and if I remember rightly, these don't really have a whole lot of eyeshadow in them. Oh no, they are 1.4 grams of eyeshadow. Huh. 1.5 grams in these tiny little squares. But it is quite thick. But yeah. And then lastly here we have my Pat McGrath palettes. This is the Decadence palette. It is really pretty. It's definitely my least used out of them. This one is the Mothership. This one is the Midnight Sun. Very, very pretty. And then we have the Bronze Seduction. Very, very pretty. I really need to use my Pat McGraths a lot more than what I do. I need to use all my makeup a lot more than I actually do. The only thing I wish is that this one didn't come in a box like this. I wish it came in a box like the rest of them so that it matched. Like, it looks like it should, but it just doesn't. It's almost like they didn't cut it properly or something. I don't know. So I rounded up the last few that were on my desk before we go into the Natasha Denona palettes. Here we have the Cult palette from Sample Beauty. It is just a nice mix of warm neutrals with a couple of pops of colour. It's a really nice workhorse palette. I need to dabble more into it. It will definitely be going in my No Pan Left Behind for next year. I have two from Morphe that I love. This first one is the Sunset Beats. Again, it has that sort of really dark red, the brown with a shimmer shot through it. These are just gorgeous, sumptuous tones. I love the yellows in here, and even the glitter, it has a nice base to it, so I do use it a little tiny bit. But yeah, if that palette was still available, I would highly recommend it, along with this guy, which is the Money palette. Making Bank palette is stunning. It's probably one of my most used palettes, which is saying something. Some of these shades have a few dips in them. These are gorgeous greens. The shimmers are amazing, and it has the perfect sort of brow bone highlight and transition shade. So I basically just need to work within this one palette, and it has this blackened green back here, so I even have a liner shade. I can work solely out of this palette and be happy. This bedazzled thing is from Makeup Revolution. It is the Ultimate Crystal palette in Adorned. I got this a couple of Christmases ago, and it is beautiful. It is very gaudy and tacky, and wow, the eyeshadow pans are massive, but every time I come in here, I love the look I create. The only thing I would maybe do different is swap out these two glitters for some darker browns, or some like darker, basically some darker mattes that fit the color scheme. You have everything, but the darkest shade in here is this shimmer, and this matte, and it's just not quite enough for me. So that might be a change that happens in the future if I ever want to work on this palette properly. But yeah, we'll see. I found another one of these little XX Revolutions in Extravagant, one of the little quads. It has a gorgeous black in it. The shimmers are really nice, and this purple is like purpley pink matte is very unique. This is definitely my last Juvia's Place. This is the Tribe palette. This is actually one I dip into quite frequently. It is just stunning, and I've recently found out that it has a comparable selection of colours in the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona, which makes me really, really happy. Although it would take me so long to be panning this guy. This is 32, almost 32.5 grams of product in this palette, so it would take years upon years to finish it up. So it's not like I would ever truly go without it, but it's just nice to have it someplace else, you know? Only complete eyeshadow addicts will truly understand. This is the Rose Gold Reloaded palette from Huda Beauty. It is stunning and beautiful, and I love the shimmers in here. The mattes are an amazing standard as well. It was one of the first wave of palettes to do this more pink toned as neutrals, and yeah, it holds up really well. It is the color scheme has aged really well. This is my, I think I've got one more Gimme Glow palette. This is Juicy Olive, because I just absolutely love greens. Absolutely love greens. Although this one, Cocktails, seems to be coming away from the pan a little bit. No, it's not falling out, but it just seems to separate from the pan a little bit there. Again, oh, that one's lifting out of the pan though, Vodkatini. Again, don't want to be holding on to these too long as for good or anything like that. I don't want to hold on to them for a special occasion. I just want to use them, love them, enjoy them. And I've heard how things like JD Glow shadows and Gimme Glow shadows, they can go off quite quickly. I mean, I've only had that palette for like a year, maybe 2 years, which in the grand scheme of like when you think about it, that's a long time to hold on to some makeup for. But in the grand scheme of eyeshadows, I've had eyeshadow palettes for like 10 years and are still good and fine and dandy. So yeah, make of that what you will. And then we have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, again, beautiful. I think if it hadn't been for Paulina Beauty, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. The packaging, a lot of the time for me, is the packaging that puts me off of a colour story, really, because I don't know, it throws off my eye sometimes. But then you've got these 4 colours here that kind of put me off a bit as well. But now I've actually like played with the palette, I'm happy with everything in here. And as I'm becoming more and more comfortable with blues, as I'm coming to realise whilst doing this video, I used to hate, loathe, despise blues, and I'm becoming aware of my becoming more comfortable with them. This would have this shade Haze, I would never have used that before, but now I'm like, hey, I know ways I could use that now. I know ways that I could use that now. So next up, we've got all of the Natasha Denonas here, which I'm going to get rid of none of. Just to forewarn y'all, we're getting rid of no Natasha Denona. So this is the Mini Glam palette. It has 1, 2, 3 broken eyeshadows in it. So I am going to be working on this in 20